Assalamu alaikum. My name is Wahab Sohail and I am going to present you qualitative interview and protocol development. Now, what is an interview? An interview is essentially a structured conversation where one participant asks question and the other provides answers in the common parlance. The word interview refers to a one-on-one conversation between an interviewer and an interview. Interviews usually take place face to face and in person. Now, there is a three type of interview. The first is structured interview, the second is unstructured interview, and the last one is semi-structured interview. Now, what is structured interview? A structured interview is a type of interview in which the interviewer asks a particular set of predetermined questions. In structured interviews, questions are planned and created in advance, which means that all the candidates are asked the same question in the same order. The structured interview are also known as standardized interviews, patterned interviews, planned interviews, and formal interviews. Now there is advantages of and disadvantages of structured interview. The advantages of structured interview is in structured interview all the candidates are asked the same questions. It's easy to compare their answers and hire the right job candidate. You can evaluate candidate in the most objective and fair way, which also makes structured interviews more legally defensible. The disadvantages of structured interview is, on the other hand, structured interviews are harder and more complicated to do. You have to write them, test them, and make sure interviewers stick to them. You also risk your interview questions leaking out, which means future candidates can come prepared. Now, the other type of interview is unstructured interview. An unstructured interview is a type of interview in which the interview asks the questions that are not prepared in advance. In structured interviews, questions arise spontaneously in a free-flowing conversation, which means that the different candidates are asked different questions. In structured interview, in-depth board area but more like a free conversation develops as the interview progresses. Open-ended questions that can be asked in any order. For example, please tell me the story of your life since your first study English. Some questions might be added, missed as the interview progress. Unstructured interview are also known as informal interviews, casual interviews, free-flowing interviews. The advantages and the disadvantages of interview is the advantages of a structured interview is in structured interview their personalized approach. They use personalized approach. There is a especially useful when you this is especially useful when you compare candidates who are equally qualified or for job where their personalities are where their personality and communication skill are circle. Additionally, since unstructured interviews allow for a free-flowing conversation, they seem much more casual and help candidates relax and feel more comfortable during the interview. The disadvantages of unstructured interview is since in unstructured interviews different candidates are asked different questions, it's harder to compare their answers and evaluate candidate equally and objectively. And now the last type of interview is semi-structured interview. The researcher will have a list of themes and possibly some key questions to be covered, contain the component of both structured and unstructured interviews. Interview prepare a set of same questions to be answered by all the interviews. A semi-structure is a type of interview in which the interview asks only a few predetermined questions while the rest of questions are not planned in advance. In semi-structured interviews, some questions are predetermined and asked all candidates, while others arise spontaneously in a free-flowing conversation. Semi-structured interviews are also known as hybrid interviews, combined interviews. The advantages of semi-structured interview is semi-structured interviews combine both the structured and unstructured interview style. They can offer the best from both worlds. They can skew an objective comparison of candidates, but at the same time provide a more personalized and spontaneously approach that allows exploration of interesting points in a specific candidate resume. The disadvantages of unstructured interviews compared with structured interviews, semi-structured interviews are less objective and legally harder to define. Now, what is qualitative interview research? The qualitative research interview are depth interviews. The detailed feedback from your leads and customers. Unstructured interviews reveal why people react in a certain way or make certain decisions. The definition of qualitative interview is the qualitative research interview seeks to describe the meaning of central themes in the life world of subjects. The main task is interview is to understand in interviews is to understand the meaning of what the interview says. The another definition of qualitative interview is a qualitative research interview seeks to cover both a factual and meaning level thought is usually more difficult to interview on a meaning level. Qualitative research helps business owners identify customer needs, clarify marketing messages, generate ideas for improvement of products, decide to extend a line or brand, gain perspective on how to product fit in customer lifestyle. Aspects of qualitative research interviews. Interviews are completed by the interviewer based on what the respondent says. Interviews are a far more personal form of research than questionnaires. In the personal interview, the interview works directly with the respondent. Unlike the mail survey, the interviewer has the opportunity to probe or ask following up questions. Protocol development definition. Protocol is a Greek word. Protocolon means a formal procedure for carrying out a scientific research. A document that describes the objective design, methodology, statistical consideration, and organization of a trial. Need for a research protocol. Detailed plan of study. Force the investigator to clarify their thoughts and to think about the aspects of the study. Necessary guide if a team is working on the research. Ensures study is conducted, data are collected, analyzed, and integrated in scientifically, ethical, consistent, and timely manner. Now, there is a process of writing a protocol. Literature review, determine endpoints, research questions, draft a protocol, peer review, final version, amendments. Formats for the protocol is project title, background, information, trial objective and purpose, trial design, selection and withdrawal of subjects, statistics, quality, protocol and quality assurance. I'm going to describe a project title and background information. Now, what is project title? Descriptive and concise, scientifically sound, clear and detailed. Now, what is background? Equivalent to the introduction in a research paper, should answer why and what. Brief description of the most relevant studies, published on the subject should be provided to support the rationale for the study. Thank you.